the deep sea kingdom, far out in the deep sea, where the water is as blue as the petals of the most beautiful cornflower, and as clear as the purest crystal, lies the kingdom of the Sea King. It is so deep that no anchor can reach the bottom, and to reach the surface, one would have to pile mountain upon mountain. Down there, the sea, people live in splendor. The Sea King had been a widower for many years, and his old mother kept house for him. She was a wise woman, proud of her noble birth, and wore 12 oysters on her tail, while others of high rank were allowed only 6. She was greatly respected for her judgment and kindness. But the most beautiful of all were the Sea King's 6 daughters, the Little Mermaids. They were lovely children, but the youngest was the loveliest of them all. Her skin was as clear and delicate as a rose petal, and her eyes were as blue as the deepest sea. But like her sisters, she had no feet. Her body ended in a fish's tail. The princesses lived in the grandest palace ever seen beneath the waves. It was built of coral, with long amber windows that glowed in the water's light. The roof was made of shells that opened and closed with the current, revealing pearls inside, each large enough to adorn a queen's crown. Outside the palace grew the strangest trees and flowers. Their leaves moved gently like fish fins, and their colors shimmered in the blue-green light. Fish darted among the branches like birds in the air. The youngest princess had her own garden, where she planted bright red flowers that looked like the sun far above. She also had a marble statue of a handsome boy, recovered from a shipwreck long ago. It stood among the flowers, and she loved to sit beside it, dreaming. Every evening, the sisters would gather in the great hall and sing. Their voices were the sweetest music in the ocean, but the youngest rarely sang. She preferred to listen and dream. She loved to hear her grandmother tell stories of the world above, the waves of ships, towns, forests, and people who walked onto legs. The sisters' journeys to the surface. As each sister turned 15, she was allowed to swim up to the surface for the first time. They returned with wonderful tales that filled the youngest with longing. The eldest sister rose on a calm evening and saw great cities with tall towers. She heard church bells ringing across the water and watched people walking on the shore. The second sister found green forests where the sun shone through the leaves like golden fire. Birds sang sweetly, and she floated near a river where children played. The third visited a large town where lights twinkled like stars at night. Ships came and went in the harbor, and music drifted from the streets. The fourth loved to watch storms, when the waves rose like black mountains and lightning lit the sky. She saw ships fighting the wind, their sails glowing. The fifth sister rose in winter and saw the northern lights dancing in green and pink across the dark sky. Icebergs floated like giant palaces. The youngest listened to every word, her eyes wide with wonder. She longed for her own turn more than anything. When I am 15, she thought, I will see the world above and all its wonders. Finally, her 15th birthday arrived. Her grandmother placed a wreath of white lilies on her hair, each petal tipped with a pearl. 8 large oysters were fastened to her tail as a mark of her royal rank. The Little Mermaid kissed her grandmother goodbye and rose gently toward the surface, light as a bubble. The prince's birthday and the storm begins. When her head broke through the waves, the sun was setting. The sky was painted with gold and rose, and the sea was calm. She floated there, watching the colors fade into twilight. In the distance, she saw a great 3-masted ship. Music drifted across the water, and flags waved in the gentle breeze. Lanterns were lit on board, making the ship look like a floating palace of light. It was the prince's 16th birthday celebration. He was the most handsome young man the Little Mermaid had ever seen. His hair was black as midnight, his eyes dark and kind, and he laughed with pure joy as he danced with his guests. The Little Mermaid swam closer, hiding behind the ship to watch. She had never seen anything so wonderful. The prince stood at the rail, looking out at the sea, and she thought he was the most beautiful creature in the world. Suddenly, the sky darkened, black clouds gathered, lightning flashed, and thunder rolled across the sea. The wind howled, and the waves rose higher and higher. The calm evening turned into a terrible storm. The Little Mermaid watched in horror as the ship rocked violently. The sails tore, the masts cracked, and water poured over the decks. The rescue and the shore. The crew shouted in fear. Then, with a terrible crash, the ship struck something hidden beneath the waves and began to break apart. People jumped into the sea, clinging to pieces of wood. The Little Mermaid searched anxiously for the prince. She saw him trying to help others, but a huge wave swept him overboard. He sank beneath the surface. The little mermaid dove deep and found him, unconscious, his body sinking toward the bottom. She caught him around the waist and swam upward with all her strength, holding his head above the water. All through the long night, she battled the storm. Waves crashed over them, but she never let go. She sang softly to him, songs of the Sea Kingdom, hoping he could hear her in his dreams. "You must live," she whispered. "You must live." At last, dawn came. The storm quieted, and the little mermaid saw land in the distance, a gentle shore with white sand and green trees. Near the beach stood a white building with columns, perhaps a temple. She swam to the shore and carried the prince through the shallow water. Carefully, she laid him on the warm sand, his head resting on a small hillock so he could breathe easily. She brushed the wet hair from his face and kissed his forehead gently. Soon, young girls came walking along the beach from the temple. One of them saw the prince and ran to him. The little mermaid hid behind rocks as the prince opened his eyes and smiled at the girl. Heartbroken, she slipped back into the sea. The longing and the sea witch. Back home, the little mermaid grew quiet and sad. She spent hours at the surface, watching the prince's palace from afar. Sometimes she saw him riding or walking in the gardens. He looked as if searching for something lost. She asked her grandmother about human souls and learned that only through a human's true love could a mermaid gain immortality. Unable to bear the longing, she sought the sea witch in the darkest part of the ocean. The witch offered legs in exchange for her voice, and warned of the terrible price, constant pain and death if the prince married another. The little mermaid agreed. The witch took her voice and gave her the potion. She swam to the surface near the prince's palace, drank it, and collapsed in agony as her tail became legs. Life on land and growing love. When the little mermaid awoke from the burning pain of her transformation, the morning sun was shining warmly on the beach. The sand felt strange and gritty beneath her new legs, and the air carried scents she had never known, salt mixed with flowers blooming nearby. She tried to stand, but her legs trembled, and every movement sent sharp stabs of pain through her feet, as if she were walking on broken glass or sharp knives. Yet she bit her lip and smiled through the tears, for she was now in the world she had dreamed of. There, standing over her, with concern in his kind dark eyes, was the prince himself. He had been walking along the shore early that morning and had found this beautiful, silent girl lying helpless on the sand. Her long hair flowed like seaweed around her, and her eyes, those deep blue eyes, pleaded without words. He wrapped her gently in his cloak and carried her back to his magnificent palace, which stood on a cliff overlooking the sea, its white walls gleaming in the sunlight, and its gardens filled with colorful flowers that swayed in the gentle breeze. In the palace, the prince gave her the finest clothes of silk and lace, soft against her delicate skin. He named her his foundling and allowed her to live with him as if she were a beloved younger sister. Servants brought her delicious fruits and sweet cakes, things she had never tasted before. She learned to walk through grand halls with marble floors and tall windows that looked out over the endless blue ocean. Though every step brought fresh pain sometimes, blood would stain the floors where she had danced or walked too long, she never complained. Instead, she smiled brightly, her grace and beauty enchanting everyone who saw her. The prince spent much time with her. They walked together in the gardens where roses bloomed in every color and fountains sang softly. He talked to her of his life, his travels, and his dreams. Even though she could not reply, she listened with shining eyes, understanding every word, and expressed herself through gentle touches and warm smiles. He taught her to ride horses along the beach at sunset, and though the riding hurt her tender feet when she dismounted, she laughed silently with joy at feeling the wind in her hair and the warm sand between her toes. Her dancing was the most wondrous of all. At palace gatherings, when musicians played sweet melodies on harps and flutes, she would dance as no human ever could, light as a breeze, graceful as a wave. Her movements told stories without words, full of longing and beauty. The prince watched in awe, saying she danced more beautifully than anyone he had ever seen. Yet with every leap and turn, pain shot through her like fire, but she bore it silently for the happiness of being near him. The prince grew to love her deeply, more than anyone else in his palace. He would hold her hand and say, "You are my dearest friend, my little foundling." The wedding and the final night. One day, they sailed to a nearby land, and there the prince met the very princess who had found him unconscious. On the beach that fateful morning, when he saw her, joy filled his face. "It is you," he cried. "You are the one who saved me from the sea." The princess, kind and beautiful, smiled modestly, and soon the wedding was announced. The little mermaid helped prepare for the celebration with trembling hands, sewing delicate lace and arranging flowers, all while her heart broke, piece by piece. The wedding day arrived on a magnificent ship decorated with white sails, colorful flags, and garlands of fresh flowers. Music filled the air, violins and flutes, playing joyful tunes, and guests from far kingdoms danced under the stars. The little mermaid wore a gown of silver and pearl, more beautiful than any bridesmaid. When the prince and his new bride stood together, exchanging vows under the moonlight, he looked so happy that the little mermaid's silent tears fell unseen. That night, as the celebration continued, the little mermaid danced one final time. She danced more gracefully than ever before, pouring all her love and sorrow into every movement. Her feet bled beneath her gown, leaving faint red stains on the deck, but no one noticed. The prince watched with admiration, saying, "No one dances like you, my dear friend." When the dance ended, she stood at the ship's rail, looking out at the dark sea that had once been her home. Suddenly, her 5 sisters appeared, rising from the waves. Their beautiful long hair was gone, cut short and ragged. They held out a gleaming silver knife. "We went to the sea witch," they whispered urgently. "We gave her our hair, our greatest treasure, in exchange for this knife. Before sunrise, you must plunge it into the prince's heart. Let his warm blood fall on your feet, and your tail will return. You will be a mermaid again, and live your full 300 years with us. Do it, sister, or at dawn you will turn to foam and be lost forever." The little mermaid took the knife with shaking hands. She walked silently to the prince's cabin, where he slept peacefully beside his new bride, the moonlight shining on their happy faces. He looked so peaceful, so full of dreams. She raised the knife high, her heart pounding, but love filled her completely. She could not harm the one she loved more than her own life, even to save herself. With silent tears streaming down her face, she returned to the deck and threw the knife far into the sea. It flashed once in the moonlight before disappearing beneath the waves. The sacrifice and eternal hope. Then, as the first pink light of dawn touched the horizon, she climbed onto the rail. She looked back one last time at the sleeping ship, blew a silent kiss to the prince she would always love, and leaped into the embracing sea. She waited for her body to dissolve into foam, as the witch had promised. But something different happened. Instead of cold nothingness, she felt a warm lightness spreading through her. Her body began to rise upward, becoming transparent and weightless. The sea fell away below her, and she floated into the soft morning sky. Around her gathered other ethereal beings, beautiful, invisible spirits with gentle faces. "We are the daughters of the air," they said, in voices like whispering wind. "We have no immortal souls like humans, but we can earn them through good deeds. For 300 years, we travel the world unseen, carrying cool breezes to hot lands where people suffer, bringing the sweet scent of flowers to heal the sick, and whispering comfort to those in pain. Every kind act shortens our time of trial. If we live purely and help others, we too can gain eternal souls and rise to the kingdom of happiness forever." The little mermaid, now a daughter of the air, looked down at the ship far below. The prince and his bride had awakened and were searching frantically for her, calling her name with sorrow, for they had come to love her dearly. She blew them a gentle kiss they could not feel, but perhaps sensed in their hearts. Now she travels the world freely, unseen but ever present. On hot summer days, she brings cooling breezes to tired children playing in the sun. At night, she carries the fragrance of night blooming flowers to those who cannot sleep. She watches over little ones as they drift into dreams, whispering peace into their ears. And every time a child or grown-up does a kind deed, her own time of waiting grows shorter. Perhaps one day, through endless love and goodness, she will earn the immortal soul she longed for so deeply. Until then, she floats happily among the clouds, bringing gentle comfort to the world below, a silent guardian of hope and kindness. And so, dear listener, as you close your eyes tonight, remember that unseen spirits of love watch over you. Be kind, be gentle, and sweet dreams will come. Good night. Sleep peacefully under the stars. Hi friends. If you're enjoying these relaxing bedtime stories from Global Story Haven, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for daily news stories. Sweet dreams.